All right, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the recap. Michael D'Angelo, joined as always by my partner in crime, Mr. Big D, Daryl Ortiz. And last night, apparently, was Night of Champions. I will say
Yesterday
this.
morning.
Yesterday morning.
It was like
Yeah. It's like
11.
the Night of Champions, the afternoon of champions, the early morning of champions. It was night in Saudi Arabia, of course.
They risked it all for the Prince of Saudi Arabia.
They sure as heck did. And with a name like Night of Champions, I would like to have seen more champions. This is where for me it was a little bothersome because we only had 2 championship matches on the card, which was obviously WWE Championship. You had the US Championship. You are technically crowning the King and Queen of the Ring winners, but I'm like, there wasn't a single women's title of all the women's titles. There wasn't a single one on. They had the one on SmackDown that was defended, obviously, but this is Night of Champions. So we didn't have any women's titles represented. You don't have the world champion because they're waiting to do Gunther versus Goldberg. So this for me felt like Night of Champions was always every single match is a championship match.
Well,
like that was always the way it was always presented.
And I mean, what it used to be, and maybe I'm just delusional, but what it used to be was since the brand split, it was always champion versus
brand.
So,
yeah.
So it was like the Raw champion versus the SmackDown champion, or the Raw tag team champions versus the SmackDown tag team. That's how it was. And granted, we don't have that split definitively down the middle, but you could have had like the IC champ versus the US champ.
You can.
Which we did have the US title
IC
defended.
versus US.
Yeah.
You could absolutely do it.
Yeah, we did have the US title defended, which we'll talk about later. We did. I guess like for me, for it being called Night of Champions, they should just called it like King of the Ring, King and Queen of the Ring, like they did last year.
Call it King, because that used to be its own pay-per-view, was King of the Ring.
They just merged them together.
Yeah,
and
so
I get it,
King
but
and Queen
it's
of the
just
Ring.
not.
Yeah,
it's just, you're right, because like I'm looking through the match card right now. There's like two.
There was two non-title matches on the card.
Just 2 title defenses. And
then the 2 title defenses. Two non-title matches with people who aren't. You had Karrion Kross versus Sami Zayn on Night of Champions. Okay, which is not to knock what they were doing to build there, because I love me some Karrion Kross, and Sami Zayn is great. It's just do that on SmackDown the night before if you're going to do
that for Saturday night's main event.
Yeah, Saturday night's main event.
Different PLE. It's not called Night of Champions. Like, that's just my gripe about it. And I'm sure people are going to be like, "Oh, well, you guys don't understand." Well, dude, look,
it's like
if you call the show Night of Champions, like it should be championships defended. So we had the tag team champions there.
There were no tag titles between the women's and the men's. So no tag titles of any kind. You have both Raw and SmackDown that could have represented. You didn't have anybody on there.
It's almost like there was concern or issues of travel to the Middle East.
I know, right? Like there was there could have been some sort of world events that were
holding people back from going. I don't know, but who knows?
But don't book it that way too. Like don't book Night of Champions somewhere where the attendance or the travel could be questionable. Is the way that I would put it.
Well, they got to hit their obligatory number of events, from what I heard, the contract that they have with the Prince of Saudi.
Yeah,
or the Kingdom of Saudi. But yeah, it's the Prince. We all know the Prince is the big wrestling fan, which is cool, because they do put on the crowd. I will give this: the crowd was rambunctious. They were into it. It was great. Definitely. It was a great crowd. I thought it helped elevate. It helped elevate the first match, honestly, like immense. Not that it needed it, because it was a great match on its own with Cody Rhodes and Randy Orton. But
yeah,
I mean, it was amazing. Like, it was thunderous. They were singing both of their songs like extremely loud. It was great. But yeah, I feel like the Cody Rhodes versus Randy Orton was my match of the night. Honestly.
Yeah, I would agree.
I thought it was such a great match. So many good spots. We did have kickouts of finishers, which I think I've just accepted at this point.
Yeah, on a PLE, norm. That's gonna happen. Like that's the inevitability every time on a PLE.
Yeah. But I mean, I love how Cody Rhodes hit the Cody Cutter, and then even one of them you had Randy Orton, reverse that, or hit the RKO out of it. So, which is really cool. You had one of my favorite parts was where he was battling with himself internally on doing the punt. And he stopped himself, and he still
did it though. Like he just gave Cody enough time to recover,
which is good. That's good ring work, because that also tells the story of like how he's conflicted. He's still battling that inner demon. And I think last week I did say that I was guessing Randy Orton would win so that he could take the title off of Cena at SummerSlam, but it looks like that will not be the plan. Yeah. Cody versus, I'm assuming, John Cena.
I thought it was going to be Cody, because they already said it, like whoever wins is going to represent or compete for the title of their brand. So it has to be John Cena, right? Because he's SmackDown. So, and I kind of figured, I was like, they're building. Was having a hard time with really they're going to have Randy Orton lose 2 years in a row at King of the Ring.
That was my other reasoning. Is I'm like, he lost last year to Gunther, and it was
and he
like
lost pretty clean. Like he lost because he exposed the turnbuckle, and then he got run into the turnbuckle. So and that's where Cody was able to hit the crossroads after that win.
Yeah.
And so it was kind of like, oh, well, he got taken out by his own bad judgment. Him grabbing the chair and going into the ring, it's like, dude, you would lose in DQ. Like, why would you do that? Yeah. Like, well, he was doing it to distract the refs so that he could take the turnbuckle. But I'm thinking, why would it take the referee so long to turn around to see him unlacing the turnbuckle? The referees being idiots is too much now. It's too much because there was so much time that was delayed. The referee shouldn't have had their back turned the whole time while all this was going on. You saw this later when there was like 100 people interrupting during the U.S. Championship match. Where I'm like, where's the ref? How is the ref not seen anything? Every time, well, his back was turned. It's like his back was turned every single time.
If you got shoulder checked by John Cena, I mean, you got shoulder
well, I know the most devastating. Like he was dead after getting shoulder checked by John Cena and fell out of the ring. And that's the other thing too. And I was laughing as I saw that in the main event where I'm like, oh, we're going like the new 5 moves of doom for a John Cena match are: I'm going to hit you with the title. I'm going to try to low blow you. I am going to incapacitate a referee, and then all this stuff's going to happen while the referee's knocked out. Like that's happens prescriptively in every single John Cena match, which is getting old for me.
Which may be intentional as part of his ruining wrestling.
Maybe.
So it could be.
I'd like to believe that they have that much forethought. I think you're giving it too much credit there.
Maybe.
I don't know.
But yeah, that was for sure match of the night. Cody Rhodes, Randy Orton. That was a great one. Of course, Cody Rhodes, you're King of the Ring. One thing that did irk me, and I'm gonna get on my low soapbox for this, and I don't care if people get upset. Why not wear the damn crown? Like they give him the crown. I think there's a picture of Cody putting the crown on, but it doesn't fit him because it's too big. And
which is odd because you book this knowing that who's going to win.
Exactly.
Like why wouldn't you just get it custom fitted?
Well, here's my theory. Because they're obviously needing it built by someone in Saudi, because that looks like really nice. Those crowns look immaculate. They look way better than the cheapy plastic ones that we.
Yeah, it's not the Burger King crown.
Yeah, no. So maybe because they wanted to save the anonymity or whatever. I can't even talk today, but they wanted to save that, like not spoiling it in Saudi.
Maybe,
so maybe that's why.
But just measure his Cody's dome. Just get his hat size and just say, hey, look, can you make the crown to fit this hat size? Just do that.
True. Yeah, because it just even last year, it happened last year too with Gunther. How like they just like hold it like a title, and I'm like, why? Like, you're a king, like put that wear on, like
because Nia Jax wore it like during her whole Queen Nia run, she would actually walk out wearing it. So I'm sure they fitted it later.
Well, because if you think about it, that's how it's supposed to go. I don't think Gunther ever wore his ever.
No, I don't think he did. Well,
I hope Cody
Booker walked around. King Booker walks around with the crown on his head all the time. Like
Macho King.
The whole point of it is you have the title basically for a year. Because you have it until there's another King of the Ring winner. You are the reigning King of the Ring.
Hell, even Baron Corbin had his redone, and
I know. I liked his crown. I loved freaking awesome. Yeah. That was so super cool.
Yeah, I loved his crown. His crown was amazing. When he had it redone for like himself, like it looked so awesome. I was like, that's cool. But see, like that's the thing. Like it becomes part of your gimmick, But it's just like I don't know. We'll see if they do it with Cody because like I said, there's a picture of Cody out there. He is wearing it, but I hope they get it fitted so he can wear it regularly, because I know Gunther would just hold it and just kind of carry it around like a child. But I prefer that they just wear the crown because it's a crown. I mean, why not? Shoot,
it's a crown.
But you did have after that what did they call it? I forgot what they called it. It was a street fight though.
Yeah, it was a street fight. Rhea Ripley and Raquel Rodriguez. Yeah. The R's have it. Double R.
I like the little video package they put together before it that showed, because you almost forget that Rhea and Raquel were like really good friends in NXT. Like you almost forget that. So it was a good match.
And I thought it was a good match. Again, I don't think it should have been on Night of Champions for the aforementioned reasoning.
Right.
Like put it somewhere else. Build to it a little bit more. The match was fun. The match was good. It was what it was. The riptide from the table, like the table on the top rope. So that way you have the nice platform to be able to hit the riptide off was cool. Because other than that, usually she hits it from the second rope because she just doesn't have the stability for it. So that was a great spot. Like as far as spots go,
Oh, yeah.
This one probably had the best spots in it.
It did.
Just because they had the chance to use all the different implements. But it was good. It was just one of those, I'm watching it going, why is this on Night of Champions?
Yeah.
Like, which is a minor knock, but I mean, again,
but
that's you're going to build this PLE.
It did do some advancement of the storyline for the women's tag team titles, because they mentioned conveniently before, while Raquel was coming out, that she had both titles because they haven't decided what to do with them yet, because Liv Morgan, obviously she's going to be out for a few months with her dislocated shoulder, which hopefully, and again, that is a legit injury. Hopefully she's, recovers well.
Yeah.
But they mentioned that conveniently, and then during the match, Roxanne Perez comes out to help her, and she ends up getting stuffed in a trash can and kicked into oblivion by Rhea. But again, that's maybe like I said, maybe that's Roxanne's way of getting in there and helping defend those tech, kind of like the way. And I know it might bother some because it's essentially going to be almost like a copy paste of when they did it with Naomi and Jade Cargill with Bianca Belair, but this is different because Roxanne didn't injure Liv. Liv just, unfortunately,
she just got hurt.
But they're probably going to use it as a way to try and get Roxanne more involved and intertwined in the Judgment Day drama. So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, and I think it makes sense because also if you're going to have one of these larger factions of people, I think you should have more Freebird rules in defending titles and defending tag titles.
It should belong to the stable.
Yeah, right? It belongs to the stable.
Yeah,
and that's where I'm like, it's like, I mean, the New Day used to do that. They used to do Freebird rules and tag titles, and I think
they brought it back. They're the ones that brought it back.
They're the ones that brought it back. I mean, obviously the Freebirds started it with the Freebird rule, but I think it makes sense to do it. Like, if I would love to see the Wyatt Six do Freebird rules.
Yeah.
And I'm presuming at some point they'll put the tag titles on them. But if they do, you've got like 4 guys. You can do whatever you want in terms of just continuing to rotate them through, which I think makes sense. It makes it more fun that way. I agree. And it makes it more unique. So we'll see. We'll see how they go.
I agree. I think it would be fun, but we'll see what they do with that. I mean, we'll find out on Raw once. We'll find out what they do with those tag titles. I'm guessing Roxanne's probably gonna, because my guess is that Raquel is not gonna want to let go of the titles because she's like, Liv's gonna be so mad if we lose the titles, and Roxanne's gonna try and sneak her way, or Finn's probably gonna talk her into it and say like, look.
Yeah,
let's we can keep them.
Finn will talk her into it. They'll have some success. Like she'll warm up to the Raquel will kind of go through that warm up phase with Roxanne, and then the drama comes when Morgan comes back. So we'll see.
Yeah. So speaking of drama, we had Sami Zayn versus Karrion Kross, and I want to take a side note to that. Is I love the ovation that Sami Zayn got, because for the longest time he wouldn't do the shows in Riyadh or in Saudi, because if I'm not mistaken, please correct me if I'm wrong, but I think he is of Syrian descent.
He is Syrian, yeah.
And that's why he wouldn't go. I think that had to do a lot with why he wouldn't go.
So I remember him saying that he wasn't welcome in Saudi Arabia.
Yes, because he wasn't welcome.
Yeah.
And to see the ovation he got, like, I loved it. I was happy to see that. So that was really cool. Another thing I really loved was Karrion Kross came out to his NXT walkout song and his NXT entrance. I love it. They got away from it for a while, but bringing it back was perfect and long overdue. I'm glad Karrion Kross is finally getting the attention he deserves instead of just being a backstage person. I think I loved it. I was a little bummed that he lost to Sami Zayn, but I get it. Now he's going to tell Sami Zayn, like, I helped you, now I helped you find yourself and whatever. So the Helluva kick out of nowhere was kind of a good touch, I guess, to like end up the match. It was an awkward match.
It was. I was disappointed that he lost, because I'm like, Karrion Kross is the one who really built kind of the online following and kind of built the, we'll call it the grassroots movement to get him essentially on Night of Champions.
Yeah.
Like, he put in that effort. And so for me, it was a little much where he's just like, say I was right. And then he gets Helluva kicked and it's like, you're wrong. And it was like, oh man, like that I was not happy with, because I did feel like you're squashing the momentum of this guy by doing it. I mean, we'll see how they play it forward. I like Karrion Kross a lot. And I thought he's got kind of a bum rap with the final, like they gave him the final testament, then they took everybody away.
Yeah.
So now it's just him.
Which I think that's all
potential. He needs. Yeah, I mean, that faction had a huge amount of potential. And I think, honestly, and we'll talk about this a little bit more, between him, Drew McIntyre, there's some people that I think really should be getting pushed hard that are taking a backseat to all of these, we'll say classic shenanigans with John Cena and CM Punk and Goldberg now hijacking. They basically are hijacking this year. And you've got all these guys that are far more deserving of pushes that are just kind of taking a back seat. So he's one of them that I think he's gotten a bum rap. So I would like to have seen him win here, but it is what it is. I get why they made the decision.
I'm hoping that I'm hoping this rolls into something bigger for Karrion Kross. I'm hoping it's more of like he takes credit in some way, because he's very good on the mic, so he probably could flip it that way. I'm hoping that's the case. But that was the end of the actual singles matches. Then we had the Red Rover matches, is what I called them. So we had Solo Sikoa versus Jacob Fatu for the U.S. title. Spoiler alert: Solo Sikoa is your champion after multiple interference attempts. So we had a returning, who was it?
Tonga Loa.
Tonga Loa, thank you. I was going to say
he hadn't seen since he got his eye poked.
Yeah,
since he had the eye patch, like he had been gone since Survivor Series. I didn't realize it was like since November.
Yeah, since November. So Tonga Loa makes his return. JC Mateo obviously came out to distract the referee. While he did that, he hit kind of like a like that was that move that they have where he actually had Solo on the turnbuckle, and he just kind of did that spinning neck breaker on him, which was, obviously Solo still kicked out of. Solo hit a moonsault for the victory to take out Solo. Honestly, like throughout the match though, again, I like that Solo's a little more comfortable now as a heel. He's back, the way he just teases, makes fun, pokes fun at people. I like it. I think it's good. He's a heel. He's supposed to, he's supposed to be like that. So I enjoyed that very much. And then they had Jacob hit the moonsault, looking to end it, but you can kind of see at the corner, I think the camera angle wasn't that great because you could see Solo waving somebody in. And here comes the last year's signee of Hikuleo. I probably butchered that, but it's all good. So we had Hikuleo come out.
Who's Tama Tonga and Tonga Loa's brother, which Michael Cole let us know multiple times, because everyone's like, who's this? And he's like, that's Tama Tonga and Tonga Loa's brother.
But they never named him.
He never said his name. Yeah, he never said his name the whole time.
God, I hope it's not something stupid. I hope they keep it.
It'll be Kaloa for one day, and then we were talking about.
It's not even anything right now.
He's gonna be CJ Loa, because I'm like Tama Tonga and Tonga Loa, and I'm like, so is Loa the last name? So if he's the brother, he's got to be Hikuleo Loa. That's too much.
Yeah, Hikuleo is
Hikuleo Loa.
That's probably what
if he's the brother, right?
He
Tama
is.
Tonga Tonga Loa. Yeah, so that's something for continuity.
Yes, they probably will come up with something. They'll probably just, I don't know. They'll just
CJ.
call him.
They'll
probably call him the Giant Loa
Junior.
Or some
Giant
crap
Loa.
Like
Yeah.
I don't know, but I hope not. I hope they keep him as Hikuleo. That's his name. That's his ring name. A great athlete. He got signed last year, but he was just wrapping up some stuff with New Japan. I think this month he finished up what he had to do with New Japan. So now he's part of the new Bloodline 2.0, which is looking a little bit better now.
This is like the Bloodline 3.0 now. Like, because this is where I'm like
2.1.
2.1.
I don't know.
This is definitely, they've gone through multiple iterations, and I was like, too much interference. Way too much interference in this one. Where the heck's the ref? How is the ref missing all of this interference that's happening? Because you've got like 20 people coming in. So don't give me that. Oh, I kept getting distracted. That was.
But my biggest question is, where the hell was Jimmy?
Yeah. No, I was thinking of that too, because I was like, I'm expecting the rundown from Jimmy, because you've been building to he's helping out Jacob, so you would imagine, and then it was like, Jimmy's nowhere to be found with no explanation.
And this whole time I'm still irritated because I'm like, why haven't we brought in Zilla Fatu? They were a tag team, Jacob and Zilla, but
maybe they do now. Maybe because he's got to build his own fact. And does this feel like they're building to another Bloodline War Games?
I was actually thinking Roman Reigns was going to return, and he was going to take Jacob under his wing. Jacob was going to kind of transfer over to the OG Bloodline, is what I think, and I still think.
Well, is that where they're going to do it now? Where it's like he's going to come back, and that's going to be War Games is Bloodline 2.1 v.23 with the update versus at this point it'd be Jimmy, Jacob, Roman, maybe Zilla, and then one more guy, Sami Zayn.
Jay will go.
Yeah, Jay will go over for that one. But I don't want to see like the Bloodline again I don't want to do another Bloodline War. I feel like they kind of messed it up the first time. Like I wasn't super happy with the War Games match. It was what like I felt like if they had spent more time kind of building to where it was just a Bloodline, and it wasn't just like Roman's team wasn't really like original Bloodline because he had CM Punk and he had Sammy. Yeah. And I was like, okay, like that felt a little underwhelming to me. And then they just kind of went out there and basically squashed New Bloodline. So I wasn't super happy with that. But the fact that they're now feels like they're building to do it again and maybe try to do it right this time. I'm like,
maybe they're just gonna do like a traditional Survivor Series match.
Maybe
like not necessarily War Games but I mean, even if they do War Games, like who's to say like who else could they possibly do a War Games with? Like that's what I'm trying to wonder. Like there's not really many.
I mean, you gotta have teams. Maybe Team Cena. Because this is his retirement tour, so I'm assuming John Cena is going to get plugged into like whatever the main event is for everything. Probably. So does, depending on what happens in Survivors or at SummerSlam, depending on what happens there, if they do try to do like a face turn, I'm assuming you're going to have like John Cena at some point do a face turn. So is he going to be part of like the hero team, you know, at the end? And it's like him and the OGs versus like the new people. Like, I don't know how they're going to work this.
Yeah.
But I feel like Cena's got to be involved at some
point. Yeah. I mean, probably. I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see what happens with that. But I'm curious to see what happens with Jacob going forward, because clearly he's not going to be part of that faction, or unless he is. I don't know. But we'll have to wait and see. It did its job, right? We're going to have to look and see what the fallout's going to be. So
I don't know what's going to happen.
After that, we had the Queen of the Ring final with Jade Cargill defeating Asuka, which we did say was more than likely going to be.
And this was the right decision. Like I felt like this was the best decision.
Yeah.
That they made the whole time. And I really enjoyed, the match itself was fine. I think it helped that Jade has credibility with beating somebody like Asuka, but Asuka doesn't lose face because she's coming off the knee injury. And so it's kind of like you got beat by Jade. So it was protected. There wasn't a bunch of like running down to the ring, tons of interference or anything. Like this is a clean win. Jade got to look strong. This is the next natural progression for her. The match itself was fine. Jade's improved a lot. She's improved a lot as a wrestler. You don't see a lot of mess ups from her. She had a great spot where kind of Asuka climbed on top of her and she stood up from like almost a seated position into a power bomb and did the sit down power bomb.
Yep.
Jade's just a great athlete, just phenomenal athlete, and she can do some really, really skillful things. So
yeah. I'm glad they did it the right way. All around. Yeah, I'm glad they did it the right way with Jade and like helped her kind of learn the ropes a little bit with WWE because, I think her from her debut to now it's a 180. She's doing so much better. I loved her entrance as Storm from the X-Men. So
that was cool.
That was a good call. I love that.
They got to re-record that "A storm is coming" when she walks out. That's a little too flat.
It's better than "All Hail the Queen." It's better than that. Queen. So
wrestling has more than one royal family. None of the voiceovers are that good. No, if we're being totally honest, they're all a little lame. But
it's okay. It's all good. It's all good. But the right person won. So now the question remains, does this mean that, and I would like to see this, Naomi's going to have a successful cash-in on Tiffany Stratton? Because she almost had it on SmackDown.
She almost had it on SmackDown.
But she almost had it last week, the week before that too. So maybe she does get that successful cash-in. And then SummerSlam, you're going to see the blow-off match between Jade and Naomi, so that way they can end their feud, but also Jade can take the title off of Naomi. That's
would be some great long-term storytelling if they actually do it. If they actually did that, because that's the whole payoff for Naomi, is the one that took her out with
let her be so consumed with like getting the cash in, and that she finally does it, and then Jade reminds her like, no, now you got me.
Yeah.
And she's gonna be like,
well, yeah, and Jade still has a bone to pick with her, the whole thing. Exactly. And they can do it as a street fight, and then she can hit Naomi with a card.
They're gonna do it. Like, what was that one? Who was it that was it? Oh yeah, it was Roman Reigns and Kevin Owens during COVID when Roman hit him with the golf cart.
Yeah, I was like, you totally do it. Like, there's a lot of ways they go with that, but that would be cool. I don't know if they will do that. I almost worry that they're gonna leave the title on Tiffany, and then they're gonna do Jade versus Tiffany at SummerSlam, and then at the end, Naomi's gonna run out and cash in and not her, and it'll be like, that's just cheap. Like you've seen that one before.
I hope not, but We'll see. Who knows? But then we had a nice little break from the no interference to all of the interference possible.
All of the interference in the universe.
From John Cena versus CM Punk. So this match went really long. And it wasn't because it was nonstop action. It was because there was a crap ton of interference.
I'm going to say too much. Too much interference. It got excessive.
It was pointless. I don't mind the interference when it helps the match, right? So like, for example, it was right at both men were like gassed out. I'm sorry. Seth Rollins' music hits, which is perfect because you're like, okay, this makes sense. He has the money. He's Mr. Money in the Bank. He came down with the briefcase. He came down with his 2 goons.
He's here to cash in.
Yeah. And he had a good spot where I even thought to myself, he's going to send in the Bronze to go and, take care of them so that way he can just take the pin, win, and get out. And I was like, that makes sense because that's what he's doing.
That's logical.
Yeah.
Like if you want to become the world champion, this is the way to do it.
Yeah, and he did. It was almost going that way, which it did work out okay. But then, of course, CM Punk being CM Punk and John Cena being, because they are John Cena and CM Punk, they fought everybody off. They worked together. They blocked everybody off. After that, I'm trying to get the timing right because then you had CM Punk getting beat up. And then Seth Rollins was coming in to kind of cash in. He waved down a referee, which I thought was a hilarious spot because Charles Robinson comes running.
Well, Charles Robinson, he's running. His life depended on it. Well, because it was almost like a reenactment of when he did that long WrestleMania run where he was running all the way down. And I busted out laughing when he got cut off by Cena, and Cena just
shoulder tackled him out of the picture entirely. Like, I don't know if he just he might have been dead.
That was the best spot of the whole match, was seeing that happen, because the whole time you're like, oh man, Charles Robinson's like running like he did in that, like you've seen that meme a million times where it's like, when you open the front door and your dog runs out, and so that's him doing that. And so when he got blown up by Cena, like I was not expecting it, so that was
I wasn't either. That was so good. So of course he gives Seth Rollins, he tells him, what are you doing? It's me. And he gives him an attitude adjustment, whatever. And then Penta comes out, and so does Sami Zayn come out, and
well, Penta didn't do a rundown. He did like the Penta
was walking down, like he was like taking his time.
And I'm just like, okay, Penta, I know you're trying to like take it all in, but get down there and help.
Yeah, but they really didn't. They just got Braun Breaker, and then Sami Zayn helped him with Braun Breaker. Then they disappeared. And then Bronson Reed was going to hit a tsunami on Cena, but Punk shoved him off the top rope so that Cena can hit the attitude adjustment. And then Punk was about to hit the GTS, and then Seth Rollins hit him with the Money in the Bank briefcase before doing the stomp, and then that's when Cena pinned him. So again, all that extra middle filler for what should have just been Seth Rollins attempting to cash in, hits Punk, hits the stomp, but then Cena throws him out and takes the pin before Seth can cash in. That would have been more effective, less time, but I guess they needed to fill the time. I wasn't a fan of all the massive interference.
It's too much.
The match was actually, and you know what? The match was actually going pretty well. It was going okay. Like, it wasn't terrible. It was good. Both men were working. I mean, they worked really well together. So it went really well. I was enjoying the match.
This I thought was Cena's best match since coming back.
Yeah.
And I was thinking that I was watching, I was like, I've given him a lot of criticism because he hasn't moved well. It's like, I feel like he's kind of hitting his stride now. Like, he's been back long enough that he's moving a lot better in this match. He looks a lot better. He's not getting blown up. And so that's what disappointed me so much once all the shenanigans broke out.
Yeah.
Because you had the referee get knocked out initially on the shoulder check. And then it's like, oh, okay, the referee's dead. So, and then that was the first thing that I thought was, they are going to have to make a stipulation to have a special guest referee at some point who's a wrestler that won't get obliterated by one shot and knocked
Goldberg.
out. Speaking of getting winded cutting a promo, I hear there comes Goldberg. Goldberg out there, as long as the match isn't longer than 3 minutes, and he has to ref it. But like the whole thing just devolved into too much interference, too much craziness. And then you had the moment where, are they going to shake hands between John and CM Punk? And he shakes hands and does the whole stare into the camera like, I'm still evil, and then tried to low blow him. That was a little silly. And the low blow was failed. But then, of course, you had the shenanigans, the briefcase strike. So CM Punk got screwed again. Like, this whole thing was done so that CM Punk could get screwed by Seth Rollins and not lose clean. And this is the problem that WWE has now, is the failure to allow people to lose clean. And for me, it's just the credibility flying out the window of, you're trying so desperately to save face. And they did this like all in the King of the Ring quarterfinals and the Queen of the Ring quarterfinal matches. Everything was done so that, we want everyone to save face and we want everyone to look strong. When you have the contrast of this kind of mess that happened in this match so that John Cena could retain, because he was going to retain, and then you have like Asuka versus Jade Cargill in the Queen of the Ring final. They just wrestled a good match and it's a clean winner, and nobody looked bad.
Yeah.
Like
both women looked incredibly good.
They both look really, really strong, and it didn't take away from anybody. So WWE, you can do it if you believe in it and just write it well, and it makes sense. You could absolutely do it. It doesn't all have to be crazy shenanigans and just mounds of interference, to the point where I was starting to tune out a little bit at the end, where I was like, oh, okay, like who else is coming out? And it was just like, and it was just the randomness too. I know they have well-worked programs together, so it's like Penta is not random because
he's not.
He had some run-ins, but it still felt random. I'm trying to watch John Cena versus.
Yeah, and who knows? Like you're saying, maybe that's going to be the War Games match. Maybe it's going to be Seth Rollins and his crew versus
CM like Punk, CM Punk, Penta, Cody Rhodes, Sami Zayn, Cody Rhodes,
all the faces.
And all the faces are kind of, and it's like the old school faces, and trying to stop Seth Rollins from taking everything over. And Seth Rollins is the present, but we're the legacy. And so you build this legacy team. And so that way it's Cena's final year, and then you have Cena and Rhodes together, CM Punk there. Heck, you could stick Goldberg in there. Like if you want to make your OG team, whatever you want to do, stick Roman in there too, because
and have Mick Foley.
Yeah, call Mick Foley. He's good for one more bump off the top of a cage.
Stone Cold still can go.
Well, I heard Stone Cold was saying he's got one match left. Maybe it's War Games. I don't know, but so I think there's potential there, but I don't know. This was just a little much. I wasn't super happy, but the outcome was exactly what I thought it would be.
Yeah.
John Cena retained. He was going to move on. So I guess
they got there. They got there eventually. All in all, I would say Night of Champions was a decent show. It had some good spots, some good moments, but was it something that knocked your socks off? No, it wasn't.
Was it a Night of Champions?
No. It was a night. It was honestly, I would have been more comfortable this being called King and Queen of the Ring.
Yeah.
Rather than Night of Champions, because that's exactly what it was, and it showcased that, and I think it did good in that aspect.
Yeah, I think it was a B level show. I'll give it a B. Like, it wasn't terrible, wasn't a C, it didn't fail. It just wasn't an A plus show, and it was what it was. It was what it was.
I agree.
Well, and then we've got, so what's Saturday Night Main Event's coming up in 2 weeks, or when is it coming up? 2 weeks.
Coming up on the 14th. So
2 weeks.
Not the 14th, the 13th.
We get to watch.
12th.
I'm calling it now.
Oh wait, on the 12th. We have the 12th, and then we have Evolution on the 13th.
Oh, that's right.
So Evolution should be fun.
Back to backs, which means like there's not going to be any women's matches on Saturday Night Main Event.
It's going to be like the old days. That's why Goldberg's
We're going
there.
Classic, true Saturday Night Main Event form from the 80s. There will be no women wrestling. So then, because
yes, assuming, we know, guys. Before y'all start getting all mad with your,
we're not sexist.
We do know. We do know that back in the 80s there was women's wrestling. Yes,
we know, but it wasn't on Saturday Night Main Event. Unless, I mean, maybe Mae Young. Somebody like Mae Young had a match on there. She probably
Fabulous
did.
Moolah.
Yeah, Fabulous Moolah. We'll see. But at any rate, I think anybody's going to be booked on Evolution. So that'll be interesting, the way that they're going to divide that out. And we'll get to see Oldberg go out and have Gunther get jobbed to Oldberg. Is probably what will be happening. I really sincerely hope not, but I've hoped, and
and then after that, it's a quick turnaround to SummerSlam.
Yeah, it's like
SummerSlam is that is going to be, where are you?
Yeah, because we're already getting into July, so
yeah, it's gonna
SummerSlam's in August, right?
Yeah. It's the August 2nd, August 3rd. So dang, that's gonna be a quick turnaround. So we're gonna have
we're like a month out from SummerSlam.
Yes, we're gonna have not this week, but next week we're gonna have Saturday Night Main Event. Then we're gonna have Evolution, and then we'll have 1, 2, 3 weeks, and then it's SummerSlam, 2-night event. In
Fast
Jersey.
And Furious, no time to build storylines, ladies and gentlemen, just shenanigans.
So it's going to be interesting.
Yeah. Well, and that's what we got for this week. Then we'll be back next week with all the shenanigans that are going to lead us into our next couple of PLEs, as it will be happening quickly. But as a quick reminder, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Leave your comments. We love to hear from you, whether you agree, disagree, or just want to talk about wrestling. We are always glad to hear from you. And that's what we got this week. So until next time, I've been Michael D'Angelo. He's been Big D Daryl Ortiz. Have a great week, everyone. We'll see you soon.